All right, Maximus Analysis here for March 30th, 2016. And starting off with the ES, we saw uh, minor selling going into the close, but we have our levels that we really want to look at. So the first one, again, if there's any type of pullback, we do not want them to get back above these highs, but they're still very young into this. So a break above these highs and we see them go back up to that 2079, 2080 area. A break below, we want them to stay above this 200-day moving average, which kind of correlates with the 2014-25 area that I posted. So you can see that that level has been touched a couple times in this little action here, and it's yep, around there. So we really want to see them hold that. Again, at 203, we're like, what the hell is going on? Because again, we like the layering of highs versus, and it could get choppy. Again, this was choppy, but we don't want them to get too deep into this price action right here. So we'll continue to look at that, continue on the ES for the weekly, continue to see what's going on in regarding volume. Again, we still only have 2 more days, but we want them to hold above these lows, which the low of the week is 2019 to 2019. Want them to stay above that or not get close, a week close towards that. So that's what we'll continue to watch on this ES contract. Now let's looking at the NQ futures. We want them to hold this 44.17. We can see that they made a candlestick, guys. This would be a shooting star pattern with higher volume. A break above and they squeeze everybody out, more upside potential, but it's doing that is at a previous support level. So previous support becomes resistance. A break of 43, basically 43.15, which puts us around this, around this region right here would be, you would say like, all right, bulls, be a little cautious right now, buying the dip, because it's pulling back, breaking a previous high and a pivot. So it could get a little choppy, if not go back down. So keep watching that. We'll see what this overnight session will say with the NQ. But again, we will look at the weekly time frame just to give things some perspective. So we're 6 weeks into this move up. And again, we want to see how they close. Currently, they don't have much volume going on the weekly time frame. So we'll continue to watch, again, using the aggressive time frames to get in and out of trades, which would help, on the equity trades versus saying I'm not going to get in something. So using a smaller time frame, you still capitalize on this move up because the daily might be a little bit more uncomfortable for everybody. So YM Dow futures daily, we see that again we want them to hold this 17,250 area, and of course the 17,000 area here. So again, on the pullbacks, bulls are still in control above that level. Going into crude daily time frame K contract, you see that they made a very bearish move intraday. EIA report today, they got up to basically, I think it was 30, what was it, 38.90 or no 39, basically 82, and they ripped back to the downside. So we want to see where they follow through. Again, this is crude, so we still want to see what's going on, but this weekly resistance that we've been talking about for crude is still holding tight. So you can see here volume kind of tapering off, but we want to see them hold above, I would say 37. Again, we want to see them hold above 37 for this weekly time frame, and then see if they could pop above this week's high. But right now they're, they broke 1 week's low, second week low, they're coming forward, but let's see how they continue looking for this one. Let's go to some equity names. Let's start off with Amazon. And Amazon, again, we said that pretty much the profit taking target was about 600 to 602, and it basically got to 603.25. So all right, but I would be taking profits off based on this, getting in around here versus trying to add on anything. Again, I think at least if they're going to trade get the breakout, guys, they'll break it down just to hit to squeeze them out for some more upside potential. So continue to watch that. On the weekly time frame, what we want is, again, if this is going to be a breakout, we just want to follow through. We don't want them to come back into this buy signal for the weekly time frame, which would then bring them back into the middle of this little zone that we had here. So we want them to continue to go to the upside, and we will continue to watch volume. Netflix daily time frame. We see that we're again, we have the resistance at I think it was 105.58. Okay, if we get any pullback, we want them to hold again the psychological level of 100. Okay, they're still below this 200-day moving average, and we still have to say they're barely, we'll see. This is just a very, just a pattern that we wouldn't like to see if we want to see some type of strength. Going to the weekly time frame, we just want them to follow through, because last thing we need right now is a false breakout reversal and they close near this lows. And in the middle of this chop is pretty much around the $100 level. But if you can visualize that if it closed around 100, that would make this a shooting star. And then next week we definitely have to have this low of 97.25 hold. So just keep looking at that, and we'll see how that one goes. Google, again, we want them to stay. Again, you got to gap up, and then they faded most of the day. We want them to stay above that for the week. We want them to stay above that 756 area we've been talking about for a couple weeks. Just want them to stay above that and continue. The weekly doesn't look that bad, but again, it's still 6 weeks, and you see how the volume has gone. So again, we want to really see how it closes for this, and want to stay, because again, this is an open candle right now. So last but not least, we will go with Tesla on the daily, and Tesla actually was down 3.25 today. So it actually, for the candlestick guys, the gap up and close basically within 50% of the previous candle is called dark cloud cover. So it kind of gave that today, gap up and faded all the way down and closed below the 200-day moving average. Weekly, we really want to see them stay above the 215 for this week. Okay, that's basically this low. So you saw the rip down. They got right back to this original break of the low for the sell, and they're selling again. So we want to see them stay above that and definitely not come back in that 220 to 215 range for Thursday. Well, not even Thursday, for Friday at the close, because then we'll look at the weekly time frame, and then we see that that's approaching this previous week's low, and then puts us back into the body, or the again, you break out above this trend line, but it's barely above it, and then it would still continue to have the lower high. So let's look at what's happening with that, and see if the sell volume increases or not. So again, it's the markets, shorter time frames. We really appreciate you guys watching, and any comments or questions, leave them below. Take care.